It's the series to race, full stop anywhere.
Well, take a look at the damage being done to that Category 5 pack now, having gone through the sprint. Stretch on the pack is huge. And
destroying it,
Stephen
isn't it?
Tiger, can I just say, he is one sprinting machine in Category 5. He's just picked up the sprint through there. And I'm just having to think, I think other than, well, hold on a minute, Navarro took it last week. I've just lost my own
notes. Have you lost your notes?
I've lost my own argument, I think was what I was going to say.
You were going to say he's won everything.
Because I mean, he is so. I'm just taking a look back. 1, 2. He's so dominant. He's won more than 50% of the sprint competitions this year.
I love the fact that you went for 50% there, because that's what he's done. Interesting results in the sprint, in the very first sprint. So Tiger from Broadbent from Cradleland in Category 5, top 3 in Category 6. That was Pegasus from Elastic from Foysaid. Remember, though, that it's only the top rider in each segment who takes away that prize. Now, sorry, go on, Emma.
I have just spotted something important.
Careful.
Luke Allport has come down from Category 3 to Category 4.
Now, I was speaking to Luke, and I know he's dropped down. He was doing less riding. He had other things on, and combining it with some other riding out there. Now, let's maybe come back to that later on. Let's see how he goes. In Category 2, our teams are ready. Abu Dhabi cycling team, Ivan Nuki, living legend that is. He's going to be racing against the A-Bus Esports team. Matthias Vanhey, Ruben Dunt, two very good sprinters and climbers. Fast Guys, represented by Camille Danes, Lassie Hansen. The Smarties squad, 4 riders for them. Angus Benston, Giselle Betty, Moritz Ritter, and Simon Volta. The Team Ice Cream, yay, go Team Ice Cream. Mark Santo. We've got the Hitmen with Ross Fawcett. We've got the UAE Falcons with Ahmed El Tanashi and Zaid Hamdan. Could be a day for them. What's Up, represented by Christian Montoya. And, of course, the one and only UAE clan team, SS, Pablo Popovic, and Mr. X100. If ever there was an aggressive racers course, this is it. They are that. Let's see what they can do. Away we go. It is qualifier race number 2. It is Category 2 away in February 2025 on the MyWoosh Sunday Race Club. Olivier Simmons on the move here. Renamed now. No longer known as Big Lee, now known as Ollie.
Well, Phil Graves took the win last week. Great to see him back on the top spot. You know, Olivier Simmons took the sprint. Che Holweiler has come up from Category 3 into Category 2 this week. And I tell you, it was a close run thing last week between Graves and Glednes, who took 2nd place. Masiek Mendakowicz took 5th. Ruben Dunt took the climb. Tidholm is here. Brune, Josh Fawcett. Betty is in the mix, as well as Trojanowski. Ika Morel is here too. It's going to be an interesting race, this Category 2 one. 51 riders on the start sheets today.
I have got my eye on one particular rider today.
Have you?
And that is James Krasnich.
Ooh.
Now, James Krasnich is climbing well. Do you know, I know this for a fact. If I said to you, you had to go out and race yesterday, and you were going to race 191 kilometers, and you were going to do, in terms of climbing, a total vertical meters of 1,421 meters, you would say that's going to hurt. Well, he's gone out and he has raced. James Krasnich raced yesterday in the New Zealand Road Race Championships.
Oh.
Not only did he race the race, he was 8th overall.
Do you want me to give you some more interesting stats than that?
What?
About the New Zealand Road Race Championships. Kate McCarthy took 3rd place in the women's race.
Yes, that's not more interesting. That's as interesting.
The rest of the top 8 were all pro UCI team road racers.
And that's a transfer of skills across. One rider who I would really love to see in action in pretty much any discipline, Marcin Trojanowski. He's another rider to watch on here. And again, another rider who that course would suit. It was basically laps around Claremont in New Zealand with a dirty great hill each and every lap. They went up that ascent lap after lap. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ascents of the climb.
Well,
to the finish, and it's a climb finish in that race. So is it going to be Krasnich today? We will see. Interesting to see that we didn't see Mary Kate McCarthy racing in the eSports Sunday Race Club.
We didn't.
After racing in the road race.
We
We'll
didn't.
have to see how James Krasnich goes on. They're not making it easy for him. Trojanski down the road, 7 seconds. Sarah Keradine in pursuit, looking to close the gap down. Betty at 1 second, along with the rest of the bunch. This is keeping the pressure on. If your legs are hurting after that road race, they're going to be hurting more by the time these guys close the gap.
Well, it is a Sunday Race Club. Never expect your legs not to hurt.
That's true. That's very true.
Keradine, Malistic, Betty, Shuran, Brune, all in the mix in the pack behind, but the pace is hot on the front, and 6 seconds now the gap. Keradine really trying to close it down, but all he's doing is pulling the group behind.
So as they make their way down, they are currently at 2.4 kilometres. So Keradine there, the flag in the background, continuing to push on strongly here at the moment in Category 2, looking to close the gap. News coming in from Category 4. They are through the Santa Fe Sprint as well. Andrew Neville Ross taking that prize. So the Sprints prize is going to the leaders. Neville Ross in Category 4 from Castro from Skretting. So our first 3 categories through that sprint, the chase on behind. It's time to go down, though, to the pens with Category 1, our elite category riders down in the pens. Now, some big teams in here. The teams with 5 riders: Alpha Jaw, Daniel Churek, David Talbot, Lionel Vajasin, Mikhail Kaminski, and Ollie Jones. We've got the Farm Watt squad. They have 5 riders: Bjorn Andreasen, Hayden Pucker, Johan Noren, Mikhail Plantero, along with Zach Nair. The Boss Moves Only squad, they have 3 riders: Michael Knudsen, Michael Vink, and Said Safrazadi. Representing the Venga boys, well, 2 riders, Arnie Jacobs and Kel Power, with 1 rider representing them at the moment, the ABUS eSports squad led at Tugels, and the CD Racing team of Mikel Machado. Big squad of riders. Watch out today. There's going to be fireworks. This is a tough course. These are tough riders. It is qualifier race number 2. The last wave start in today's racing away as Category 1 take to this 50.3 kilometre course. A huge amount of climbing, all coming pretty much at the end, 492 metres. However, and it is a big however, there is going to be challenges on the way with the rise and falls, particularly over the bridges and where they come relative to the sprint. So watch out. Arnie Jacobs out of the pen.
Dying it.
Yeah, Arnie, morning. You're all right, mate. You're going for it already, the Netherlands rider, kicking away. I'm assuming that you're in your home country here and saying good morning, because it is just morning in Europe. And at the moment, Arnie Jacobs, now you can see that with the fan going. 1980s headband there as well.
Great job.
Yeah, can't be a headband.
But Jacobs moving on here. Jason Osborne, the rider in the rainbow bands, doing the chasing. Hayden Pucker, the newly crowned national champion of the USA, with Lionel Vujasin, Zach Nair, Christoph Kroll, David Talbot, all at the front of the pack. The pack are rolling quite happily behind Jacobs and letting him roll out front.
Yeah. Leaving him to it. That's not a chase. That's just we're just going out and start Pen. It'll come back together. It'll come back together, one way or another.
Can I just say, other riders from the Sunday Race Club taking part in that men's road race in the New Zealand Championships. Ollie Jones, took 14th. Paul Wright took the win.
Yeah.
You don't sound impressed.
They are, but they're Category 1 riders. And
yes.
I was kind of focusing more on the Category 2, on the basis.
Well, no, that is very true.
It's elite riders riding at an elite level. I kind of get, I get it totally. But Category 2 riders who step into
I will take
going up, that is some going.
I will take the James Krasnich finishing 8th overall in the elite men's road race as a Sunday Race Club Category 2 rider. A phenomenal performance.
Yeah, 100%. And to be honest, anyone riding 191 kilometres.
That's what road racers do.
It is. It's very different to esports, and I know that the esports purists out there will be going, don't talk about other disciplines. Do you know what? We all ride bikes. We all jump on two wheels. We all race. We all pedal things. This is all about two, three, or even one wheel. Unicycling, I'm going to count in that as well. It is all about getting out there racing, enjoying yourself and having fun, because fun is the aim of the game, whether you are racing at the front of category 1 or you're at the back starting out in your career at the back of category 6, which is where I probably would be right now.
Well, Trojanowski, Carradine and Shuran, the three riders at the front of Category 2. And I tell you something, this is danger zone. Light those warning lights, because boop, 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 there's a 16-second gap back to the chase group. Bengtson on the front of the chase group, and he is pushing on at the moment. But this is a dangerous breakaway of three riders. Shuran, Trojanowski and Carradine are no slouches. Well, Anders Bengtson, Masiak Mindakowicz on the front of the chase group, and they are now absolutely pushing on. But I don't know why they've left it so long, because this group, well, if the three of them work together, they could stay clear for some time.
You can see what the chase is doing there. It's stretching that big pack out. I think nobody wanted to chase. I think everybody wanted to save their energy. And even if you were feeling eager to race, you're going to let somebody else do the work. But then it hits magic at round number of 15 seconds, and you go, hang on a minute, we might have to do something about this. And then the trigger is pulled, the chase goes on, the stretch comes on the group, and the group gets pulled out, and then it comes back down again. So, when you put figures in your head, it's very easy. You get like 5, 10, 15. You usually do it in numbers of 5. I think that chasing group have gone, yeah, how long should we let them go? When do we actually start putting any kind of move in here? 5, no, 10, 15 seconds. You're not going to go, it's going to be, let's let them have 7 seconds or 8.7.
Well, it's one of those dangerous things, isn't it? Because, okay, they're at 6.7 kilometres into a 50.3 kilometre race, and they're sitting there going, well, it's 17 seconds at the moment, the gap. It's three riders out front. We've got a long way to go. We'll reel them in eventually. Well, when does eventually materialise? Because Abitko is the rider on our screen at the moment. He's at the front of the chasing group with Bjarhead, Krasnich and SS. Betty is on there as well. But, at what point do you go, maybe we should do something about this? Because, to be honest, there's 43 kilometres still to race.
There is. What I think is interesting, you see, I think the smart money in some ways is sat back waiting and not doing anything at this stage, given what we've got still to come. And because of that there's a section of course that comes in around about the 18k marker through to about 23, where it really does get tough, and we see those kicks. I think the move by Joel Lewis here to go across, to stretch his legs out here, go on to get to near the middle of the pack, and then go for a real wind up. Put one effort in an effort to bridge across. If you do not make it, don't persist, come back.
And to be honest, bridging the gap at the moment is a really big job, because take a look at that. The gap now nearly 20 seconds. Lewis has gone at 6.87 watts per kilo. Yes, he's got 7 seconds on the chasing group, but he's still 12 seconds back on the three that are away. They are completely out of sight and out of mind.
And you've got to do it at the right moment. So for me, the right moment is as the leaders, as the breakaway comes into a climb, they will lose pace. It will slow down. That is the moment when you are still carrying speed and momentum. So the physical distance of one avatar to another, the virtual distance between one avatar and another is reduced. That is the moment, the optimum moment to be going across, so that you are coming across, the distance between is minimalized. So you've got to do that on the run-in. This bump is not enough. You need a bigger climb.
There is one coming.
There is. But I don't think Lewis here, he's halfway, he's sandwiched in between. He's in no man's land. He is coming. He's putting down 6 watts a kilo, and he's doing so consistently. But he needs to get on. If his timing is that he makes contact with that group as they hit the climb, that is going to be superb timing, and I will well and truly take my hat off to him if he's managed to do that, because that is a big bridge, a big effort to do coming across. But at what cost?
Well, to be honest, Lewis has done a phenomenal piece of work here, because no one has gone with him. To take a breakaway off the front of a group like that and to try and cross the bridge to the leading three with nobody going with you, well, to get that first time, it is an absolute joy. Lewis must be really pleased with that. He's now got 16 seconds on the chasing group. The leading three are 9 seconds up the road. He's still got to work to close that gap down. But if he does, he's going to be rewarded by being in the leading group of 4 with 25 seconds back to the chasing group. Well, that's category 2 on the right-hand side of your screen. Category 1 were on the left-hand side of your screen, but we're dropping back in with Joel Lewis because the gap is coming down. He's got the leading 3 in his sights. It's now at 8 seconds. They're coming up towards the climb. Now, this is a danger point for me because Lewis needs to make contact with the group. If the group kick on the climb and Lewis isn't with them, I think this is going to be a danger zone for Lewis. He's either going to make contact or, well, the chase could be over.
They're hitting the gradient now. It's just starting to increase. What he has to do is he has to make contact just as they hit the base of the climb. The problem he's going to have is that as they slow off, he's going to not quite be there. 7 seconds, needs to keep pushing. I'm just watching his numbers as well. He's still holding that pace in terms of power to weight. I mean, that is going to be critical. Still holding between 6 and 6.5. Good ride here by Lewis to come across. Marcin Trojanowski in this group. They really could do. Having one more rider, suddenly, instead of doing 1 turn in 3, you're doing 1 turn in 4. That is a big advantage. So it may be to their benefit. They've got 30 seconds now on the chasing group. It could well be to their benefit to wait here, to give him that chance to come across. They've picked up the pace here, and I'm not sure that's the wisest move.
Well,
he's made the junction. He's clearly as strong as anything.
Get
him on board.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I'd sit back now and wait for him to join, and I'd get him on board because 4 is stronger than 3 when it comes to drafting and working and taking turns and energy management. And those are all really key concepts that these riders in this breakaway are going to need to stay away from the rest of the group.
100%, and we're coming in here to a sprint, and what will happen is that big bunch are going to go sprinting for the sprint points. They've got the advantage of having that big group in there, so going to get the sprint points, going to try and take away the segment prize is going to be key for them. Lewis here joining this group gives those 4 that extra bit of firepower, because the gap will come down. You can see the pressure is on in this chasing group. They came into that climb at 30 seconds. That gap is guaranteed to come down when they've come out of the back of that sprint section, and having another rider in there to help them pull clear is going to be key. Now, here we go into the climb proper. You can just see the wind-up going on the front. It could negate some of the sprint speed of this group, but there's a lot of riders in here. Bankston looking particularly strong at the moment out of the saddle, tapping that rhythm out, 70 revs per minute as this group comes through. What you're looking for double-figure numbers here in terms of watts per kilo. For somebody putting it in a full-on sprint here, they're going to need a few to go together from the front to keep that pace high. They are going to be looking to close the gap down to the leaders. It's down to 19 seconds now, and then watch out for a counter-attack from the bunch to bridge across up towards the group. Massive sprint coming through from the group there. I think that was Simmons who I saw at 13 watts per kilo as he came in through. It was. He takes the sprint jersey. Good ride by him. Don went with him, but it's going to go to Simmons, the green skin suit of the leader in that sprints competition. That gap that was 30 seconds, 19 seconds now.
Yes, but take a look at the group. Okay, we've now got to push back on. We've had a bit of a rest. We've had a bit of a pause. We've had a bit of a deep breathe of air into the lungs, and now the pace is picking up. John Brune, 7.6 watts per kilo. They are taking this over the edge of the climb. They're utilising the descent for the momentum to try and bring the gap back, but it is still at around 20 seconds. This has now got to be a concerted effort if they want to bring this back, and, well, I think they've now decided they do.
Well, this is where you can drive, get that momentum, build the pace here, when you've got that big draft, when you've got that big group, the high speed sections are key. This is a higher speed section with 55 kilometers an hour already and still increasing as we go down this slope. If you are pushing on the front here, your effort is being used to maximum advantage, and you're utilizing it's a force multiplier by taking the group, using the draft and using that descent all together. That gives you that multiplication. It gives you that increase. whereas the 4 riders in front just don't have that extra draft. They can put all the effort in they want. They can put the pace in. They can use the downhill, but they don't have that multiplier of having that big group together.
Well, this is a big group as well. Category 1, we're at the 9-kilometre marker. They are wide across the road. We're in with Bruce Bird, the Canadian rider at the moment. Pucker is in there, Panizza, Mayer, Kaminski, Kroll, all in the mix. And the pack are rolling around 41 kilometres an hour at the moment. They're coming in towards the climb with the Santa Fe Sprint on top. But it is a steady pace from this group, and I can tell you how I know that, because Bruce Bird's heart rate is 127. They're rolling at 3 watts per kilo, 2.9 watts per kilo. This is steady, steady pace.
Steady is not a word.
It's zone 2, zone 3. Look, it's zone 2 work at the moment for Bruce Bird at the moment. That's a easy, chatty ride.
I'd imagine Jason Osborne's heart rate is not much different from when he got out of bed this morning. I don't
think he's doing his resting heart rate whilst actually turning his legs. I mean, okay, it's probably nowhere near, as high as it will go, but
we will have to see. To be continued in all of our race categories. We're back in with category 2. This is where the moment has come, and you can see the gap being made here. The bridge has come, so the group is at 13 seconds. Mendakowicz, Bjerregaard, Walter Koisten, they went through that sprint we were just talking about. The category 1 are going to climb up 2. They went into that descent. They have pushed on here. I can just about make out they're about 2 pixels high. The riders are up the road, 12 seconds down the road. And they're tiny dots in the distance. Walter, Bjerregaard, Mendakowicz, all trying to close that gap down to come back across. And this chase has split the pack. We have riders distance and losing ground at the moment, because there are more riders in the front section ahead of the split and less riders behind. And that is the danger when you're in a big group and somebody makes a move on the front. You're caught on the wrong side. Somebody doesn't chase. The person next to him doesn't chase. And then you're in trouble, because all of a sudden that gap opens, and it opens quickly. And you so much work to get back now. You can see that splitting on the left-hand side on the radar there. Walter is so instrumental in this, as part of this chase. He knows the danger. He wants to be there. But my goodness, they're on the edge just to try and get in touch with the chasers, never mind the leaders.
Yeah, and, the hammer's down now and the decision's been made. Bjerregaard and Mendakowicz, Gledness are there as well, but Bjerregaard and Mendakowicz really are driving this now. They're 6 seconds off the back of the leading trio. But it's not, this is going to swell the ranks of the leading group, but it's not going to be a huge group at all.
I'm going to make a prediction. It is soon. It is soon. Joel Lewis making the jump across. Shuren, we're going to see Mendakowicz there. I think we're going to see Bjerregaard there. Gedness, I think, is going to make contact as well. I think all of that chasing back.
Yeah, but then I think we're going to see a real drive from that group to go away, because actually there's around 10 riders in that group. That's it. Now move on.
Are we going to see the same thing happening here in the category of the day? Absolutely nailing. That is average watts per kilo, 15.5 watts per kilo for the duration of that sprint.
But he is a master sprinter. So Jasper Paradiens takes the sprint with 1,098 watts average, 11.521 seconds. Vidal Mayer putting in a strong performance behind him as well. And Skierski as well. Paul Skierski, he's come up to category 1, and that's also really good to see. Timothy Brook from category 3 setting a great time on that sprint. David Nitko there as well. Andrew Neville Ross in 6th. In category 4, Olivier Simmons. Category 2, Rick Van Erck. Category 3. And Luis Castro from category 4 alongside Joachim Stretting running out the top 10.
Category 5 winner through that sprint was Navarro, and great ride by him. Category 6 was Pegasov, taking those prizes, segment prizes for the fastest rider in each of those race categories. Now, back with category 2, the group at the front is seeing riders join here, because Bjerregaard and Mendakowicz are going to make this. This is the chasing pack, and that was the big pack. I think we're going to see that's going to be 4, 5, 6, if not 7 riders,
Yep,
I think, in the
they've gone.
lead group.
That's it now.
And, well, that's a bold prediction.
I'm making that prediction.
I think you're wrong. I
Well-
think you're absolutely wrong, because this is at 16.4k of a 50-kilometre race route. They've not even covered a third of the race distance.
Yeah, but look who's in that group. Keradine, Shuram, Yarhead, Mendakowicz. You know, it's a strong, strong group.
16
They've got
seconds,
to work together.
16 seconds max
Yeah.
from this big group behind. This big group behind has got big teams without riders represented in the front. UAE Clan Team for a start,
Well,
we
I
know
am
are likely
happy
to chase.
differ, but
Good,
I
because
predict.
it's going to happen.
Excuse me, don't be so dominant in the studio.
Pardon?
Yes, I believe.
I'm forcefully imposed.
Will you stop talking over me?
I'm just reinforcing my point until you
Well,
snap.
wait till I finish mine first. But my point exactly. This group is going to win.
No, they're not. I will get the last word on this.
Yeah, but as long as it's not talking over me.
We'd make a change, wouldn't it? Okay. I love it.
Dangerous territory in the studio today.
Well, do you know, it's all that caffeine.
Well, anyway, back to
I've
category
still
2.
got some left.
And Troy Janowski calling on the left-hand side of your screen for the group up front in category 2 to work, whilst Bruce Bird deciding he's going to go out alone and do the work in category 1. He's had enough of the Zone 2 endurance ride that has been the category 1 race so far, and he's got on the front.
Just going to be coming into this little bit of a drag at just over 14k. So they're just going to roll in at the moment. 13.9k cover. They're going to see the little increase in gradient, possible trigger point for a move up the road. We're just working our way in and through at the moment. Some great racing, some great riding just in with Mikko Kaminsky, another rider who could well be in at the mix here. Now looking very attentive. Going to be interesting to see what he does today, what his tactics are. Are they to sit in and then go? Are they to cover the moves and then make a decisive move at the end? What is he going to do today? How does he shake this up? They have got the rainbow jersey in there, the world champion. That is Jason Osborne, a very difficult man to beat. Even when he's having a bad day, his bad days are most people's good days, and that is where it gets difficult. Knudsen on the attack now. So at the moment, Michael Knudsen making a move down the road. Vinken Safrasoni, his teammates not responding. It's Kaminsky, then Tugels, then Vujasin, who are on the chase. A little bit of a rise is enough to make the difference, but that group will come back together. So at the moment, the race action on the flatlands heading towards the climb here today. It's time for us to take a look at another of our riders. The spotlight is going to swivel and fall on one of our riders. Who will it be today that we're going to feature and maybe get a little bit more insider information on?
My name is Ivan Njuki, or Ivan Njuki. I'm a Ugandan living in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, and I'm a team administrator and coach at Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. I love climbing, and Jabal Hafid is my favorite so far. I like long, hard climbs or long, hard efforts. Even punchy, no problem, as long as it is hard and long. I'm in. Pablo Popovic is my biggest fan, and he teaches me how to ride better on the platform. He's such a fantastic rider, and we look forward to being like him. I'm not too much into snacking, but I love to drink just after the race or training or whatever. And in this case of SRC, I like the watermelon juice, homemade, and I mix it with some glucose or protein. Depends on how I feel. Mashallah Mr. X100. The code name is fancy, perfect, and Mashallah is not afraid to attack. He's always putting us to the limit. Sprint, climbs, name it, you got it covered by Mr. X100. Phenomenal. We look forward to being able to challenge you. Guys out there who are joining for the first time, please come to enjoy. But if you're into winning, we're gonna give you a run for your money. Yes, it is quality competition here, and everyone is into it to take it. Yeah. How would you describe SRC in 2 words? It's full gas. After watching the final of the World Championship in Abu Dhabi, where Jason Osborne won, I liked his celebration, and I'm taking it on for the rest of my Sunday Race Club wins. Time. The cloud and the hammer. That's fantastic. Yeah, I love it.
He's going to be enjoying doing that celebrity, celebratory pose there. A real star rider, and it shows you it's not just new riders who get inspired by our world-class riders. It's riders who are down there. Some fantastic questions. I would really love it if you answered those questions. So please do get in touch with the team at MyWhoosh, or get in touch with Emma or myself if you want to be featured in that spotlight. We want to find out more about you because that really is key. These are not just avatars, they're real people, and it gives you a chance to see the real people out there.
Well, and I love the fact that, Ivan draws his inspiration from other riders and finds them inspirational to him, because I've had the pleasure of riding with Ivan Nuki down at the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club, and he inspires the young riders there every day, out there coaching on the track with the groups of young riders, and it is absolutely fabulous to see.
When we were down at the World Championships, we went around the island, and you say he inspires those young riders. He inspired me just riding with him and riding with those. And the youngsters inspired me as well, that the way that they're prepared to have a go, their enthusiasm. And that is fantastic to see. And I do think your point there, that it was very noticeable that his inspiration was other riders, and that if you are going to come and have a go, this is real tough racing. This is hard, and that's coming from a man who races, who doesn't just ride on esports. He rides across disciplines and races strongly. He's a rider who's going to be aggressive out there and racing.
Being aggressive at the moment in Category 3 is Nathan Guerra. Lewis Ridley is trying to close the gap down. Patrick Karlstrom is on the move as well. The stretch on the group from the move of Guerra at the moment really shaking up this Category 3 race.
So certainly plenty of aggressive racing and riding here. The climb at the end, not as long as the Jebel Hafit. And I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler to the women's race if you haven't seen it. We have a rider spotlight in that. I won't say who. But interesting that the 2 race routes featured today by them as their favourite race routes are 2 of our oldest race routes on the Sunday Race Club, with the Jebel Hafit and the Jebel Yais. 2 real old school race routes are their favourite race routes.
Big climbs.
Big climbs. Now, they are much bigger and longer than the climb at the end, but do not discount the climb at the end of this. Patrick Karlstrom certainly won't be. He's answering the attacks at the moment, and I think he's going to be thinking about, quite why are we going on the offensive? We're at 29k. I know that we're in the bumpy, rolling section here. It is a very, very tough section of the course, and it is shaking and breaking up this group, and we are seeing riders being distanced, but that climb is still to come. Carson just taking on board some fuel there. That looked like it may well have been a Jelly Baby type sweet there, one of those soft sugary sweets.
Could have been a sweet, could have been a gel cube, could have been
could
anything.
Be gel cube, yeah, could be.
But whatever it is, he's getting the nutrition and fuel on board, and that is absolutely instrumental because there is still some way to go in this race today, and it is looked like King Category 3 is going to be fiery.
It is Category 2 at the moment, much as I hate to say it, it may well be that we have seen the group come back together again, because I can see Sir Carradine in this group for James Krasnich in here. We're just taking a look at the riders, but up ahead, there are still riders. Emma's prediction is holding out at the moment at 23.9k.
You're going to eat your words today.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the first time, would it? Or the last. 20 seconds to get, and the group in front has swollen.
Well, I'd argue, is there one or two groups in front? I think there are two groups in front of this group.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah, if you look at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen and try to unpick the racing ahead, this is X100, Ken, Bendetti, Carradine, SS, all in this group. But up the road, I think there are two more groups of Category 2 riders. Let's just recount that Category 2 was so aggressive from the start that it has just put multiple groups out there on the road.
Let's jump back in with Category 1. We saw them go through the first sprint, the Santa Fe sprint, with Jasper Paradines taking that sprint. The second of our sprints, a Coffee Plantation sprint. It was Vidar Mayer who took top points there, just out sprinting Jasper Paradines and David Navitko. Then Rick Van Erck right up in the mix, followed by Paul Skierski, another of our Category 1 riders. But of the Category 1 riders, realistically, at the moment contesting that sprint, Skierski, Nitko, Paradines, and Mayer, all those riders kicking out well over 1,000 watts to be right up at the front. The nearest rider to him was Kel Power, in fact. He was sub 1,000 watts. The difference, interestingly, between Mayer and Paradines, 3 watts difference in their power. But key thing here, Paradines and Mayer at the moment, one sprint each, so equal on the points standing at the moment certainly in terms of wins. Behind the that's going to be really interesting to see what they do in terms of those points gone. Where that goes, still 2 more
now
sprints
this
to
is
go.
the front group in the Category 2 race. Trojanowski, Bjarhead, Mendakowicz, Shuren and Lewis. 5 riders in the leading group in Category 2. They are still clear of the chase. Now you can see the chase behind on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. The leading 5 weaving their way over the cobbles. The chase group just behind that Category 4 rider, Gutierrez.
And we're just waiting to see that time gap. I think Gutierrez is going to get swept aside. He is. It's 11 seconds a gap. So 11 seconds a gap between the leaders and group number 2. Group number 2 is substantial. They get together, that makes that bigger. That means that the pack, the bunch that we've seen on the left-hand side of your screen with Mr. X100 in there, the inspirational rider for Ivan Yuki. He is at the moment losing ground because it's lost riders off the front who have gone and joined the leading group, and they are making short work of that gap. They're making their way up towards the front. If the Group 1 and Group 2 get together, the pack behind are going to be in trouble because the numbers have diminished, and they really do now need to make some very hard decisions. They need to make the decision about chasing. You can see at the moment that pack's numbering about 18 riders in the big pack at the back. They have to close down the gaps pretty quickly. It is a 50-kilometer race. We are just over half race distance, but making the work to get back, making the effort is going to be tough. Now, Bankston here pushes on. Ika Morel with him. Betty is with him. There's some big names in this group, and they have not made the junction yet. I'm saying that because I kind of want them to make the junction. It will come back together so it can then explode on the climbs. But at the moment, this chasing group it accelerates on the little bumps, the little rises on the road over the bridges. It then decelerates back off a little bit.
One of the things
The leading group are pushing.
they are, but one of the things I really love about the Sunday Race Club is each of the race categories really. I mean, I know they are their own race in their own right. So we have 6 races taking place at the same time in the men's, 6 races taking place at the same time in the women's. But the tactics and the strategy week in, week out differ hugely. And it's fabulous to see the same race course raced differently by the categories each week. Well, SS here off the back of Ken at the moment. He's going to need to do a bit of pushing on here over the bridge to close the gap down to the group. He's just been distanced on that rise. That's on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, the leading 5 in the Category 2 race turn the corner and they head towards what is the back of a group of Category 3 riders. So they have riders to chase, but not in their own category.
But there's still those little carrots, those little breadcrumbs. You got that chance to get across. I like the breadcrumbs analogy because they only last so long and then they get snaffled up or they disappear. So you've got to use them whilst they're available and before time runs out to use them now. But Ken in this group with Ken Kensar, Carradine in here, Matthias Van Heet, SS, Che Howeiler.
Yes, who's gone up to Category 2 this week.
You could just see this really suiting him. Really suiting him. He's such a strong rider, and I think he revels in it when it's tough competition. Today, I think it's particularly tough. That split going, that gap opening, it's caused so much damage. I'm very surprised at this. Very surprised.
Yeah, and there's a number of riders up there. This is just like all over the place. So Coinston, Downey, and Graves. So I think we've got another group between this group and the leading 5. Yeah. I think we've got the Graves and Coinston group. So
group 1 is leaders, yeah. Group 2, Graves and Coinston,
and then group 3 is the bunch.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. Let's take a look away from Category 2 for a moment or two. We have Category 4 leader Christopher Morgan at the moment. He has got company with Joshua Haggerty and JJ Miller there on the right-hand side of your screen. Currently just going through the tunnels here in Colombia. Then you can see the left-hand side now going on to the big stream. Patrick Karlstrom here in this group of Category 3 riders at 35 kilometers. You can see that there is a push coming through here, and Karlstrom, I think, winding this up to see if he can take away the sprint points here and take away the segment points. He sits back down again before the line. Has he done enough? We will have to see. The sprint at 35 kilometers, the Wax Palm sprint, and just waiting for those
Patrick,
updates.
I can tell you who takes the sprint competition in Category 3. That is Patrick Bloom, who took the sprint there. From Santiago Vélez, Nicholas Spratt, Nathan Guerra, and Lewis Ridley. Patrick Karlstrom finished in 6th place in that category sprint, way off the pace of Category 6, who, wow, Marius Fosseed, 14.4 watts per kilo, 1,167 watts through the sprint, currently holds the fastest time. And we've got 6, 5, 4, and 3 through that sprint segment already.
Tell you something, that is a big sprint.
Massive.
1,167 watts from Marius as he went through there, 14.5 watts per kilo. That is a full-on sprint. But he had Pegasov, Milostics, and Järvinen there, who were all contesting that as well. And that's clearly forced the pace there. Now, Morgan in this leading trio of riders in Category 4. They are currently at 38.9k, so they're not all that far. It's about 500 meters off the next sprint point. They're going to come out from the tunnels. You take the slight right here in the tunnel. It's a left turn out from the tunnels, and then they're going to be into their final sprint, and that is going to be the Mompox City Sprint, a familiar name to people who have been watching the Sunday Race Club from when we have gone up the Paso Alto as the climb, which has been our traditional big climb finish in Colombia. This newer course in Colombia, a shorter climb, As for the climb finish, as we come through towards the sprint, I think Morgan, Miller, and Haggerty are going to keep pushing onwards. Interestingly, behind Taylor Gonzalez and James Robinson, they're at 30 seconds, the chasing group. That is not insurmountable in Category 4. Left-hand side of your screen. Well, look at this. Guerra again on the move, really putting the pressure on here. And we have riders away. Guerra, Bloom, Spratt, and Ridley. 4 riders, would you agree,
It is
Emma?
indeed a 4-rider gap with a gap around 18 seconds now, back to Karlstrom, Kalman, and Washnosh. But it's a good, strong group of 4. And it's going to be interesting to see whether they can stay clear at the 37.2 kilometre marker into this 50.3 kilometre race. You know, they could. Guerra's been in a breakaway group before in the Category 3 race and is really instrumental in instigating those breaks, but also maintaining the pace and ensuring the gaps. Ridley is no slouch, neither is Bloom. And well, was Nicholas Spratt your pick for the win today in Category 3?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, you know, like I said, Category 2 leaders wouldn't stay clear. I'm saying the category, the riders in that category, they will stay clear.
Well,
just because it suits my picks. I'm not sure that my predictions are worth all that much, I have to say.
Well, you heard it here first.
Shall we go back to Category 2 before I get insulted anymore? Marcin Trzecialski with Marcin Vindakowicz, CEO at Spearhead, and Mikhail Shurin just overtaking Guarin, the rider in the blue on the left of your screen in Category 3, holding the wheels of the Category 2 riders to come on to this bridge behind the chasing Group 2 are closing down the distance to the leaders. That will swell the ranks of the leading group. Further back down the road, and you can see that distance, it is about 800 meters. Mr. X100 has broken clear of the main pack. So SS Bengston and Co. at the lead of the main pack. Mr. X100 breaking clear. He's got a big ass, so 50 seconds up the road to the chase group, to group number 2. The leading group, though, even further in front. This is the lead group at the moment. This is going to be, sorry, this is a chase group at the moment. The lead group just up the road.
Yeah, and it's not very far up the road. It's only about 8 seconds at the moment. And Don, look at the pain on Don's face. That's a big push. So Don, Walter, Downey, Havo, Gledness, Koinstinen. I tell you something, there are multiple previous winners in this group on the Category 2 Sunday Race Club. And you're just seeing Ruben Dont use the... Look at the effort going in here. This is a massive kick. He really does not want to leave this group because he knows when these two groups come together, well, the race is set and it is going to be decisive. Now, Phil Graves, who took the win last week, is the rider closing the gap and wanting to do the work to come back to the riders who are up the road. There's still 7 seconds. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I tell you something, when you are chasing this hard, 7 seconds is a long gap.
It's going to hurt. You just know it's going to hurt. But they're seeing some serious training. The UK triathlon scene really starting to wind up the training, winding up. And I think that's why we're seeing Graves getting stronger and stronger as the weeks go by. He puts out the emotion there to the emotion got to go, get on with it. Let's go. Let's take turns at this. We have to work together. Walter, Gedness, Graves, Dont, Downey, then Koinstinen, and they have to work together. He's not wrong. They want to close the gap down. They've got to keep on pushing. That's Category 2 on the left of your screen, right-hand side of your screen.
Look
Category
how many!
6.
Tell you something. You know when I said that there was different races within a race? It is so true because Category 6 at the 43.6 kilometre marker, they are coming up to the climb. Leonard are on your screen at the moment, part and parcel of this leading group. And it's a good-sized leading group. Lenador, Teron, Yarvin, Jokobonus is in here. Monsalve, Demanuan is in here as well. Perez, Riley Millistick is on the front here. He climbs well, the young rider.
Yeah, youngsters always climb well. That's depressing. He's going to have a chance to prove it, though, because we are heading in towards the climb. Remember, this climb kicks in at 44.9K. Importantly to note, behind our Category 6 leaders is coming the duo that is Dadson and Warren. They've broken clear in Category 5 of the rest of the bunch. Their gap, you ready for this? 1 minute and 5 seconds.
I know.
And they are not slouches. Mokhtari of Ham, Zanaska and co. trying to close these two down. But Warren and Dadson really are working well. They're going to have this lead very shortly.
They are, but also take a look. 16 riders confirmed in that leading group in Category 6. That's a phenomenal number of riders to take into the final climb of the day. But Dadson and Warren, the two Category 5 riders, going up and over the top of the Category 6 bunch. They worked their way right the way through. And I'm just taking a look. One of the riders in that Category 6 bunch just digging in and trying to jump on the back of the wheel. It's Cameron Dadson.
So Cameron Dadson clearly knows Mark Dadson is on his way here, and the shout, I'm sure, will have gone out, get on the wheels, let's go. You might as well use this as a springboard into the climb. Just whilst we've got them in shot, Maris Fossé taking away the overall sprint win in Category 6. Congratulations to him. He takes the overall. He had been scoring points all the way through those sprints. He took the win in Monpok City Sprint. He was the winner of the Wax Palm Sprint. He was fighting it out and took the win in the Coffee Plantation Sprint and in the Santa Fe Sprint as well. He was up in the mix. He was third place there. That was his lowest position of the four. He takes the overall and will take that overall prize in Category 6. So our Category 6 and 5 leaders together as they come on to the climb. This climb is going to be telling. The Alto de Aguila climb is going to test the riders. Who is going to come out on top? Well, we've not got long to find out in Categories 5 and 6. Further back, Category 2, well, the dramas continue, and they continue for a reason here. Ross Fawcett sprinting his way through, but I know that there are riders up the road, and that gap it has opened really right up now.
It has indeed. So 1 minute 12 seconds back this group are, and Ross Fawcett at the moment holding the fastest time on the sprint section in Category 2, but 1 minute 12 seconds back. It's a long way. That leading group in Category 2 really doing the business today. Fawcett, there he is. We drop into the pain cave, but he's just taken that sprint.
Sorry, I was just finishing eating my words before I spoke. My mum told me it was rude to speak with my mouth open. I've definitely had to eat my words. Emma, 100% correct there. That group has gone clear.
Well, you know. What can I say? I can say that Gombert, Darn, Ken, Bendetti and Holweiler all part and parcel of this group with Fawcett. And we can say that in Category 1, they're at the 33-kilometre marker now. And Panizza has just put a push in. Look at the size of that Category 1 pack. And the pace has been rolling there. Osborne, Krolvu, Yasin Nair, Puckett and Jacobs, all part and parcel of that group. I think this Category 1 pack are waiting till the climb. Panizza's had enough.
Yeah, it won't last. What?
Positivity.
I think it's really interesting tactics. Just watching Category 4 on the right-hand side, that's been aggressive all the way through.
Yeah.
You can see Miller there with Morgan, Haggerty going on to the climb. The trio have broken away. That's just not happened in Category 1. They are all absolutely world-class athletes. And because of that, I think it means that they all respect each other so much. It's not the other categories don't respect each other, but in Category 1, that respect is equal by the ability to close the gap. You've got to put in such a monumental effort. You have only the one opportunity. And this course really, whilst you can do damage on the little rises, you cannot win it on the rises. You can lose it and be distanced, but you can't win it. You can win it on the climb. So this is all about not being distanced.
Yeah.
It's not losing a wheel. It's not about winning the race.
Well, and also in category 1, I think you're quite correct. It's about saving as much energy as you can for that climb, because you know that's where the big effort is going to come. And the riders who are going to want to be in contention there are not necessarily going to be wanting to put in the attacks on the first 44.9 kilometres of this race. Now, if anybody goes before that, it's going to be interesting. But at the moment, it's category 4 now. They are our next group of riders on to the Alta de Aguila as we push up here. Van der Zandt is in here. Pulgarin, Bradley, all in the mix. David Young is in here as well. Great. All uphill.
It certainly is, and this climb is going to be telling. We've seen this when we've raced the Paso Alto. This is basically the run up. So when we race the Paso Alto course, we go around the early part, the flat sections, for a little bit shorter distance on the course. We then go up this climb and we then go over the bridge into the Medellin city above it, and then we climb onto the Paso Alto, which in itself is a huge climb up over to the very top of the Paso Alto. This steep climb, and now the finish for this course here today. It's a 500-meter run to the finish, which is still uphill from the end of the climb segment to our actual finish line, the UCI banner at the top of the climb. This group have come on together. It's starting to break up as they go on to the climb. That is category 4. They're at 45.5k. Still some 7 kilometres behind category 4. You can see the chasers in category 2. Mr. X100 is part of that chase group. But we're back up with our leaders. Vidal Mayer is making the most of the opportunity here. I think really interesting, because Mayer has been fighting out, and he's been opportunistic here, because he has taken the sprint win in category 1 in sprint number 3. He took the win in the Coffee Plantation sprint number 2, and he was second in sprint number 1 at the Santa Fe sprint. He's making these his. Whatever happens on that final climb, he's taking home a nice payday.
He is indeed. But Olivier Simmons sets fastest time in category 2 on the Wax Palm sprint, 12.435. Vidal Mayer just 0.266 of a second back, taking the win in category 1. Walter Clay's taking the win in category 3. Joachim Stretting taking the 4th fastest time, taking the win in category 4. And Marius Fossid taking the win in category 6. And it's great to see all of those different categories in the mix.
It certainly is a really interesting move here by Vidal Mayer, just putting in that little bit of a sprint, then just eases off, lets the group come back, doesn't continue to push, definitely not an attack. The riders will have seen him go down the road at sprint pace, knowing that that is what his target was. They also know that that is doing damage in terms of his chances when it comes to that final climb, because once you've burnt that match, once you use that effort, very difficult to keep it in reserve as well. At the same time, as the phrase goes, you can't have your cake and eat it.
Well, Nikki Lloyd wanted cake in her spotlight.
She did. She did. All that hard work not saying the name there earlier on, all blown apart.
Never mind.
I have to say, I can't. You can't beat a bit of cake. I tell you who talks about cake a lot. Holly Bergin. My goodness, that woman can talk about cake. She talks about cake pretty much on every one of her training sessions.
Nothing wrong with talking about cake. I tell you something. Cycling and cake go hand in hand in my world.
A bit like cycling and coffee.
Yeah, there you go. But Betty, Don, Morel, Gombert, and X100, this is the large chasing group in category 2. They are significantly down now on the leaders here. The leaders who broke away really early. It was so active in category 2 early on. We saw 3 riders go clear. We saw Joel Lewis go over the gap and make it 4. We then saw a group of other riders come to the fore and make the catch. It has been a light in category 2 all race. Now in category 6 on the right hand side of your screen, Pegasov is the rider we are watching. He is at the fore of the race with 3 kilometers to go. Fossid is there, Bergeron is there, Warren is there, Dadson is there. Well, Warren and Dadson category 5 are slowly coming up through the field. There's a chase group behind. Pegasov is the rider clear. The group behind contain the leaders in category 5, as well as the chasers in Category 6. And what's really interesting, Matt, is that we had 16 riders in Category 6 together at the base of the climb at the 44.9 kilometre marker. We're now at 47.5. And I think there's only a 15-second gap from the front to the back of those 16 riders.
And you can see them on your screen there. You've got Pegasus here at the front. You then got that second, the group chasing behind. And I've just seen this group that we're watching on the left-hand side of our screen here come sweeping into the bend round the hairpin turn below. You could just make them out in the trees behind Pegasus on the right-hand side of your screens here. The right-hand screen, that you could see that group coming round at pace. This is a big group. Category 5 chase group is big. It's got a lot of power in it. It's closing down. Warren and Dadson are clear at the moment, but this chase group, they have the opportunity to close down. I know we're starting to run out of road, because we're going to finish at the 50.3 marker. But I think there's still potentially enough room for riders like Agudelo, even off Cridland, along with Caja Sikora, to close the gap and to bring back our breakaway riders of Warren and Dadson. Going to depend on how that pace goes. Great move here, though, by Pegasus, taking away, at the moment, a 7-second gap from Burden. Burden, the nearest rider to him, and then Llewellyn is at 20 seconds, and that's the distance to the chasing duo in Category 5 as well. Andrew Pegasus was also contesting some of those sprints earlier on, so clearly feeling good today.
Well, I'll tell you what's also interesting is Warren and Dadson, the two riders leading the Category 5 race. It's not a big gap back, to the chasing group who are coming. And Tortoretto, Cridland, Agudelo, Ivanov, all in that chasing group in Category 5 on the mountain behind them. It's a big, strong march from that group. And I'm not sure Warren and Dadson are going to stay clear.
No, real jeopardy at the moment for them. They've really got to respond to that chasing group coming up behind them. It could potentially come back together. Pegasus has set out his stall. He's going to try and solo away. Now, Bedron is not all that far off the pace. That's bottom right-hand side of your screen. We've got chases all the way over the screen at the moment. The leading trio in Category 4, they're top right-hand side of your screen. That's Morgan Haggerty in the mix there with Miller. They are currently clear of the chase by 6 seconds from Van der Zandt. That's Hendrik Van der Zandt of the United States of America. And that's in Category 4, left-hand top of your screen. So that is Patrick Bloom at the moment, the Category 3 rider, currently putting distance into the competition. He has got riders close to him, though, and that is definitely not a done deal at this stage. Bloom at the moment looking good. Has he got the power to finish that off? And on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you've got your chasing group here as a Mark Dadson, the rider that we are following at the moment. We're going to move up to Cridland here. Warren is in here. Tortoretto is in here. So the catch has been made. They are back together again. They've broken away. Dadson are gone.
It's like a boy band.
It's back. The band's back.
They are indeed, and the band is now rolling because Agudelo, Ivanov, Warren are all in the mix, and they are on the left-hand side of your screen. Pegasus now being caught by Maya Budron, the American rider. Really big push to close that gap down. Wow, what an effort, what work at the 48.6 kilometre marker. The two Category 6 riders are at the head of the race. At the 48.5 kilometre marker, we're in with Jonathan Cridland. He's been instrumental in making the catch back to the leading two in the Category 5 race. Agudelo, Tortoretto, Siddle, Cridland, all in the mix here. It's going to be a strong finish over the last kilometres of this race today in Category 5, because there are some exceptionally strong riders in this leading group.
And they're climbing so well. You can see them leading the way up here. The front of this group, Cahill, along with Ivanov, Siddle, Cridland, Francis, all in here, all tapping out a rhythm. The only riders left in front are Budron and Pegasus. They're going to go, and I think it is Budron who's just put in a dig here. He's out of the saddle at over 4 watts per kilo. He's been answered by Pegasus. He's got that little bit of a gap. You've got to think about how hard you go here with that finish at 50.3k. At 49.8, you're going to get the pre-warning of the finish of the climb segment and that polka dot banner. This, I think, is going to come back together again. The gap at the moment from our leaders, who are the riders in Category 6. They have a 13-second gap to the chasers, and it's even off leading Category 5 in pursuit. The gap at the front, the Budron open. He's opening even quicker here at the moment. He's got that out. It was at 0 seconds. He's currently open 7 seconds here. I think this is Mayor Budron's straight for home, and he may well continue this to the line. If he does, he has got the pacing to perfection, but Pegasus is responding.
Well, he's on, he's off, he's on, he's off. Budron at the moment's got just over a kilometre to go. He has to hold it. We've seen riders blow spectacularly in the last 1,000 metres and the catch be made. Pegasus is not out of this yet, though I think he is pretty much in the same place as Mayor Budron at the moment. Budron, the only difference is he is further up the climb. 7 seconds clear of Andres Pegasus, who is doing the chasing at the moment on the right-hand side of your screen. On the way behind them, and this is going to be instrumental, are the leaders in the Category 5 race. They started 5 minutes out the start pen behind the Category 6 riders, but Agudelo, Tortoretto, Cridland, Ivanov and Siddle are the riders climbing towards the finish.
So Mayor Budron at the moment has that 7-second gap. The chasing group behind from Category 5, the leaders in Category 5 are going to close the gap down on to his pursuer, and it's up to the pursuer then to utilise that if he can. Top right-hand side of your screen, Christopher Morgan stretching his legs out has opened up a gap to Haggerty at the moment, which is 7 seconds. He's got Van der Sant behind at 12. So those Category 4 riders stretching out. In Category 3, top left-hand side of your screen, Patrick Bloom at the moment tapping out a very smart rhythm of this climb. He has got the gap. It is still not decisive, but time is running out for Nathan Guerra, who is currently the nearest challenger and 20 seconds down on the race leader in Category 3. So Category 6, 5, 4 and 3 into their final few kilometres.
They are indeed, and they are all coming to the finish of this race. The first riders, I think, who are going to come underneath that polka dot banner are going to be the Category 6 riders. This is the Category 5 race, though, and you can see the two leaders in that Category 6 race just ahead of them. So Agudelo, Cridland and Tortoretto being joined by Siddle at the moment and Carcajal. It's going to be a leading group of 5 in the Category 5 race. Budron and Pegasus are the two riders in front of them, 1 and 2 in the Category 6 race. It was at 8 seconds. It's still at 8 seconds between Budron and Pegasus. Tortoretto, Agudelo and Cridland, you can see them coming from behind. What can they do? It's the last 500 metres of the race.
So Mayor Budron picks up the climb segment prize. He will pick up the overall climb winners prize in Category 6. Jonathan Cridland is going to do the same in Category 5. This is the long sweeping right turn. You've got a little left and then a tight right. This will take you into the finish. Budron leading out from Pegasus. 12 seconds gap. Surely that is too much. Behind, though, Agudelo has got Tortoretto. He has got Siddle and he's got Cridland for company. It's going to come down to a sprint, I think, between the chasing group behind Budron in Category 5. Category 6, though, and the race here, surely it's going to be taken out by Mayor Budron.
Well, Mayor Budron, the rider from the United States of America, is going to swing round the right-hand corner, and he's going to be the first rider to see the UCI banner, the finish line today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Card. This is qualifier race number 2 in February, and Budron in Category 6. They were the first riders out of the start pen today. Budron is going to be the first rider underneath the finish line. He's going to take the win today in the Category 6 race. The chase is on behind and the sprint is opening in Category 5. It's Cridland, Agudelo, Siddle and Tortoretto. Budron comes underneath the banner to take the win in Category 6. Cridland and Agudelo are neck and neck, but it's Jonathan Cridland in Category 5 from Agudelo, from Sidland, from Tortoretto. Category 6, Category 5, and the rest are on the road.
So the winners of the Polka Dot Mountain Climbers competition taking away the win in category 6 and 5. In category 4, it's not the same because Morgan is clear of Haggerty by 4 seconds and Van der Sant by 7. It's going to be a solo up this climb. So Morgan goes up and now the move comes from Haggerty. Haggerty goes over the top. Haggerty catches, passes him in the last few meters. A win for Joshua Haggerty, timing it to perfection in category 4 in qualifier race number 2. Morgan pushed down in the last few meters into second place.
Well, it's not over till you cross the line, and Patrick Bloom knows that exactly. He's got 300 meters to go. The banner is around the bend. The category 3 race, Bloom went clear with the leading group, and Bloom now clear on the climb. He's clear of the chasers behind. We drop in with Patrick Bloom in the pain cave to watch him take that win, and the salute is already up and out. He's up and out of the saddle. He's pushing on those pedals. He's taking the cheer of the crowds because that's the UCI banner, and Patrick Bloom is going to take the win today in the category 3 men's race here in Colombia. The group behind, well, he's ridden away from them on the climb. Patrick Bloom takes the win in category 3, qualifier 2 in February.
Winning solo, winning in style. He punches the air, and I tell you something, he rightly celebrates. That was a phenomenal ride to take away the win overall by Bloom in category 3. And you can see what it means to him. A category 3 behind him. It was Guerra that was leading the chase behind. We're just going to drop down into the leading group in category 2, though it's been a little while since we've been in with our leaders. They are on the climb at the moment. Trojanoski are trying to hand it out to countryman Mendakowicz. They are clear at the moment of Lewis and co, who are the chasing pack, the chasing group behind. So this is going to come down to the last 3 kilometers, 2.5 kilometers or so, which is where we are at here with Trojanoski. He's ahead of Mendakowicz. They've got to keep going, though, the pair of them, because if they hesitate, they're going to get swept up by the group behind them.
Well, they are indeed, and the 2 riders pushing on the right-hand side of your screen. Michael Vink, Jason Osborne are pushing on the left-hand side of your screen. Vuyasin, Knudsen, Jones, and Van Elst are on their tail. They're at 46.1 kilometers of this 50.3 kilometer race. The climb is underway, and Vink and Osborne are trying to stamp down some domination here, but Vuyasin, Van Elst are not letting them go at the moment. Well, Vink and Osborne have got something to say about that because the push is on and the gap is starting to appear.
So the thin end of the wedges here, can they hammer that home? Can they open up the gap? SS is going to be the rider with a grandstand view here. The category 2 rider for the UAE clan team. You can see in his rear view mirror the fast approaching Michael Vink and Jason Osborne, who have opened 5 seconds up. They go over the shoulder. SS wants to take as much draft as he can. It's not huge on this climb, as behind Van Elst, Pucker and Knudsen are coming. And this is the big express train that is coming. There's a huge group of category 1 riders here still in contention. We're at 46.6k. A quick reminder, we finished this race at 50.3 kilometers, and it means that there is not as much chance and distance for Vink and Osborne to open this gap. What can the rest do here? The 2 riders have gone clear. Michael Vink and the current world champion Jason Osborne have opened the gap. Safra Zaidi is leading the a chase behind as they are on this climb. They're making their way up these slopes. They're on the left-hand side of your screen. We're watching Mr. X100, the rider who has been described as his inspirational rider by Ivan Nuki here today. He's putting in a ride here, digging in deep. He's ahead of Angus Bengtsson in Category 2. But this has been a brutal day out on the course for all of our riders. Anybody who thought it was going to be easy on the run in clearly wasn't riding any race but the Category 1. Category 1, they cruised and sprint, just contested the sprint till they hit the climb, and boom, it's exploded. At the two riders that have gone clear, it's Vink and Osborne behind, while Vujjasin leading that chase, but it's still a group. Category 2, Mr. X100 trying to close down on the riders in front. He's got Betty and Dotto behind him, two Brazilian riders in two different categories of our race here in Qualifier Race 2.
Well, and actually where X100 is trying to go is where Joel Lewis is on the left-hand side of your screen at the 49.1 kilometre marker. Lewis, we saw earlier on in the race, do a phenomenal effort to go across from the chase bunch to the leading group of three. He succeeded in crossing a 20-second gap and then staying with that leading group. He's putting the attack in on the race field. He's working his way through Category 4 and Category 3. He's got Trojanowski and Dont for company. It's a leading group of three. I tell you something, don't discount Gledness. He's in fourth as well. He's gone with them. He's got an amazing finish on him.
I was going to say the same about Ruben Dont as well, but we did see Ruben Dont's face when we saw the rider there on the climb and how many shades of pain he was suffering on his way up that climb. It's going to be really interesting here. It's dangerous to take a group into a sprint when you've completed a climb, but that is what's happening in Category 2 at the front of that race. 49.5k covered. They're into their last kilometre now. They've got the right turn, the sharp left-hand turn, and then they'll be rolling round in underneath of the banner that signifies the end of the climb segment. Osborne and Vink continue to open the gap to the riders behind, but that group has broken by the look of it. There are riders being distanced. The nearest rider is Lionel Vujjasin, but no, it is still together. It means there's a rider now being distanced off the back of this group. So this group, not the size it was when it came into the climb, but still substantial. Left-hand side of your screens, Category 1, right-hand side of your screens, Category 2.
Yes, and Trojanowski now picks up the mantle from Joel Lewis as they see the polka dot banner signifying the top of the climbing section. It also signifies 500 metres to go in the race. Trojanowski, Lewis and Dont. 2 seconds cover those three riders in the Category 2 race. Dont picks up the polka dot skin suit for the fastest on the climb. Who's going to be the one over the line?
I tell you, it's only 6 seconds. He's nothing on here. Look at the distance. It's literally just in and around the right-hand bend. This is now the distance diminishing towards the finish, and at the moment time is running out. Ruben Dont has managed to take away the climb segment. He will take away the climb overall, but at the moment it's Trojanowski who has got the gap on Lewis. It's 3 seconds. Lewis has bridged once. Can he do it twice? This right hand bend, it leads into the finish. Trojanowski versus Lewis. Who wants it the most? Is it going to be Marcin Trojanowski?
Oh, I think it is. I think he's broken clear enough. He's got 4 seconds now on Joel Lewis. That is the UCI banner. That is the end of the race. Marcin Trojanowski has done enough. Joel Lewis contended it on the climb, but not to succeed because the first rider over the line in the Category 2 race today, Marcin Trojanowski, takes